Good evening and welcome to the pre-draft show. I'm your host, Stephen Kirker, and I'm joined by two experts in the sport. To my left, Josh Allen, 12-time Keeper of the Year and League Champion of the North Korean Football Federation. And to my right, Wesley McCree, Rally Champion in over 13 different states of America, and also wanted in those 13 states as well. Tonight, it's an exciting night, gentlemen. We have the inaugural Fantasy League season. There's a lot to play for, okay? Tonight we're going to be determining the draft order. Coming up soon as the Constructors. Josh, what's the team to look out for this year in the Fantasy?
My go-to pick would be McLaren. Everybody hates George, but when you're hated, you're quick. You've got to get away from people.
Respectable. Wes, what's your thoughts on the situation?
Honestly, I think Mercedes has got a great chance at this time. I think we'll see them go well and go hard.
I appreciate that. Let's look to the drivers. Okay, we have 22 on the grid this year. Only 16 can be chosen for the draft. 6 sitting in the unfortunate reserve position. Wes, if you were to sort of cast your mind as to the top 3 going order for the draft, who do you look out for?
I think at that point in time, you've always got to bring in George, unfortunately. He's always going to be sitting there. Max too, he will of course be in the conversation. And then you're probably looking at one of the McLaren drivers at that point in time, Oscar or Lando.
Could take or leave either?
Could take or leave either. I think the skill level there is relatively similar. So,
Josh, do you agree?
When I look at a fantasy draft, the first thing I'm looking at is participants. So it's not always going for the best drivers of the sport. You know, you've got fans of different factions. So we've got Wesley himself and Chris in the draft. Those are both going to be looking at the McLaren, the Ferrari drivers. Joss obviously going to be looking at the at Oscar. So I think it's gonna fall to just whoever has the most popular driver at the end of the day, and skill is going to be decided secondary.
I'm thankful that you said that because that does bring me into one of the most important players in this game, which is Charles Leclerc. Charles, we know, one of the best drivers on the grid right now, but unfortunately has been stuck with not the best team for the past few years. He's very popular. And I do agree with what you're saying in terms of it really comes down to the player who will get the position in the draft pick. If we see, your Wesley or your Chris falling quite low in that selection, maybe we do see Ferrari go a little bit later in the draft. Certainly, I wouldn't be picking Lewis Hamilton, if you know what I mean.
Calm down.
Okay, all right. Okay. But certainly, Charles one to look out for, I think, depending on the right person to fall high in the draft, he could go quite early. But Max, the McLarens, as you will, all safe bets. George is an interesting one. Such an unlikable guy. And as we know, in even professional drafts, your likability can really lower, your dislikability, if you will, can really lower your standing in a draft selection. So it'll be quite interesting to see where he falls.
I completely agree, yes.
So before we go, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
It'll be interesting to see the return of course, Valtteri Bottas coming into the grid for Cadillac. I think that's going to be an absolutely fascinating it was fantastic in Mercedes, and then seeing him in a new car, new engine as well, is going to be quite exciting, I think.
Josh, anything else before we close off?
Well, I think it's going to be quite exciting. As you said, we've got 6 teams, 6 drivers not going to be picked. So I'm very curious to see who's going to be left in the lurch.
Thank you both for your time. So we will be cutting over to the Constructors draft very shortly, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Do you have sweaty balls?
Why, yes I do.
Gross, fucking freak. This message was brought to you by the Dry Testicle Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, your host for the evening, Stephen Kirker.
Welcome everyone to the inaugural F1 2026 Fantasy Draft. I'm your host and Fantasy FIA President until MBS replaces me inevitably in 6 months. Stephen Kirker, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all. Those who can't attend in person, thank you for attending at home. It's a big year, first time, of course, that we'll be hosting this draft. And it is my greatest privilege to begin by starting with the constructors. Now, for those who did not read the memo, who are not aware of how the rules work, I will be drawing names from this here bucket. Whoever I draw first will have the 8th pick in the draft. We'll work our way up until we find the lucky individual who will be receiving the first overall pick for the team of their choice. Without further ado, it's enough of me speaking. Let's begin with the 8th overall pick in the 2026 Constructors Draft shall go to Brianna Greeley. Briscoes. Congratulations, Bree. It won't be an easy one on the Constructors for you this year, having the last overall pick, but there are plenty of amazing teams, and we just know that you'll pick well. With the 7th pick in the 2026 Fantasy Draft, we have... It's the good-looking man himself, the draftman, me. With the 6th pick in the overall draft, we have Nicholas Hill, the officer himself. Congratulations. And with the 5th pick in the 2026 Constructors Draft, we have Jocelyn Beekman. Now we get into the interesting territory. 4 major teams: Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari. 3 of them are favourites to win this year, the other one's Ferrari. We have the 4th pick in the 2026 draft is Christopher Hill. Congratulations on your inevitable Ferrari team. Now we have 3 remaining. The drama, the intensity. Who's it going to be? Who's going to get the fabled number 1 spot? We're about to find out very shortly. But first, let's see who is number 3. In our Constructors Draft, we have Joshua Allen, famous quarterback of the Lions and married to Haley Steinfeld. But in this instance, he will be our 3rd overall pick. For those of you who are not with us today, unfortunately, I can confirm that our very own crew control, Wesley McCree, is shitting himself right now at the possibility of having the number 1 overall pick. His dream is still alive, but is it about to die right now? For this one, the name I draw will have the number 1 overall pick. And it is going to Brianna Reynolds Smith! Congratulations very much on having the inaugural Constructors number 1 overall pick. Sorry, Wes, you're just going to have to accept number 2. Congratulations on your McLaren team. That is all for the Constructors Draft. Good luck to everyone in your picks. I look forward to receiving them. Very shortly, we will be returning to the mid-season, mid-draft show, if you will, with my co-hosts Wesley, Josh, and myself. We're very excited to present that for you. But until then, and until the drivers' draft, good luck and happy pickings. Welcome back to the F1 Fantasy Draft mid-show. We've just had the Constructors draft, and boy howdy, was it an interesting one. Unfortunately, I didn't fall too well. Boys, 7th position. You hate to see that.
No,
I think
mate.
I'm smelling an Alpine or potentially a Haas in my future. But the men to my left had a much better result. Josh Allen, 3rd position.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. I think I can definitely get a good result from this one, actually.
And where's 2nd?
I know, it came down to the wire at the end of it all, but
Didn't
in that sort of situation, just got to take what you can get.
Take what you can get. I mean, certainly it was an interesting one. Congratulations, B, on getting the first draft pick. Boys, I think we all know who's going to be going first overall.
Oh,
Bree
100%.
has consistently said in the past that she's a fan of Mercedes. There's not a world in my mind that she doesn't take it. But then we get to the next teams. You know, your Red Bull, your McLaren, your Ferrari. You boys are, in fact, the deciding factor of this. Josh, where's your head leaning? What do you think Wes is going to pick, and how might you go?
Well, I think it's simple. Wes, big fan of Ferrari. We know this. He's actually a big fan of Lewis Hamilton. I don't think anybody likes Ferrari that much. Certainly no one in our draft that I can imagine. So really, it could sit there for a while. You know, if I look at my notes, there's a lot of teams above Ferrari, I think, that could go earlier. And until you get down lower, it might be a sleeper just sitting there.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. Wes, care to retort? Do you think Ferrari's in your near future, or are you going to go for a team that might actually win the Constructors this year?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility. The idea was there. As soon as I saw my name coming up for 2nd place, I was like, it could be there. But I also wouldn't want to deny Chris what he probably feels like he deserves.
Yes, no, I appreciate that. And let's cast our eyes to the best of the rest. Joss is sitting in that comfortable 5th position. She has her pick of the litter of anyone outside of the top 4 teams. Potentially Ferrari may fall out there if somebody goes a bit different. Where do you see Joss leaning on this one?
Well, I definitely think Joss already will have her ideal picks, and I think she can definitely get away with having a great top 3 that's never going to get picked in the first. You know, you can have your Mercedes in there as a pick, you can have your McLaren, and then you can have like a mid-table team that you think is going to do really well, and you're probably not going to lose all 3 when you're sitting in the 5th pick.
Wes, do you have a particular team you might think she may swing?
I mean, there's a few options there. Obviously, you've got teams like Williams, Aston Martin are in the runnings at that point in time, and they've got some strong chances. I think Aston Martin are a bit of a wild card, of course, change of team principal and designer. So we'll see how they go. Outside of that, I think, as I said, there's Joshua. There's a good chance that there's one of the big 4 teams doesn't get chosen. We will see how it happens, I think.
Certainly, it will be an interesting next few days. Now, let's cast our minds forward to the drivers' draft that we have coming up. Bit of a different structure. The person who gets the first overall pick is also going to get the last. So while they might have the most desirable driver on the grid, they could very well have the least desirable, barring, of course, the reserves. So, Josh, who's the driver that you want to look out for in the draft that you think might actually do better than perhaps their skill or talent allows?
Well, I think when you're looking for a driver who's going to be picked earlier than their talent or skill allows, you're looking at possibly those 2nd, 3rd, or 4th picks in the draft. You want to, ideally, they're going to be picked if someone thinks, you know, this person's going to do a lot better than people think, and their first pick gets picked early. So if you're going 2nd and you've got one person in your head and that person's immediately off the table, you know, I think that's where it's gonna come in. You're gonna get those people, maybe Hadjar, Lance Stroll, big one for me.
King of the wet, they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, exactly. And it could be a wet season. You know?
Quite right. Global warming's not going to help anyone, is it?
True.
Wes, I want to get a bit more personal for you. Who do you particularly have your eyes on to try to take in this draft?
Well, I think the old dream team, for me personally, would be coming in at Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Bringing the pair back together.
You know what? I don't think anyone's going to try to take that away from you. However,
that's the hope.
if I'm not mistaken, I suspect that of the two of those drivers, there's somebody else at this table who might want to have a crack at Valtteri Bottas.
That's fair enough if it comes down to it.
And it's not me. Let's put it like that, eh?
Well,
But
you
we'll see
never know.
how
You
it
never know.
goes.
It all shakes out in the draft.
Quite right. Now, we will soon be cutting over to the driver's draft to find out where everyone sits. But first, a word from another one of our sponsors.
Perez squeezed past, they're going wheel to wheel towards Vale now. Who's going to be last on the brakes? Leclerc has that inside line. Perez goes off the track, cuts the chicane. Off goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff coming out of the final corner. Perez and Leclerc going for it. Hamilton says thank you very much. Another thing opens up.
Nestle KitKat, hopefully a future sponsor of the F1 Fantasy League.
And here is Hajar.
No! 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 I destroyed the cow! No!
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in welcoming back your host, Stephen Kirker.
Thank you all for coming back for the draft that everyone has been waiting for, the driver's draft. Now, I will go over the rules once again for those who are unaware. The driver's draft is a little bit different. We've got two drivers that each team can select. What this means is that the person with the first overall draft pick will get their pick of the litter, but they will also be the last person to choose their second driver. As we go down the list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, the last pick in the draft will get their first pick of the second driver. So there's balancing to be done, thoughts, questions, ideas to be had about how you want to construct your team. But there's plenty of time for that later. For now, let's find out where everyone's going to be falling. Now, with the 8th and 9th pick in the 2026 Fantasy Drivers Draft, that will be going to Wesley McCree. Congratulations, Wes, on the 8th and 9th picks. With the 7th and 10th picks in the World Drivers Competition for the F1 Fantasy Draft, we have, it is one paper, Joshua Allen. Thank you for that outburst, Wesley. As you can see, a lot of drama, and we haven't even picked the drivers yet. So, with the 6th and 11th pick of the drivers in the F1 Fantasy Draft, we have Brianna Reynolds-Smith. Congratulations, Brianna. Now, the player with the 5th and 12th picks in the F1 Drivers Draft, we have Jocelyn Beekman. Congratulations, Joss. Now, with the 4th and 13th picks in the World Drivers' Championship competition, we have me. Congratulations, me. Now, with the 3rd and 14th picks in the Drivers' Championships coming down to the wire, those of you who are still left in the draft, congratulations. We have Brianna Greeley. And number 2 brothers. Lovingly growing up together. One became a cop, one became a chiropractor. Now rivals for the number 1 draft pick. As with the constructors, the name I will draw next will have the 1st and 16th picks. A lot of good drivers up for grabs. Maybe at the first half of the game. But at 16th, options are slim to none. Who knows? You might end up with Lance Stroll. With the first overall pick, the Hill brother that will be getting it is... Nick. Congratulations, Chris, for the 2nd and 15th positions. We have our players. Now I need the drivers. I'll wait to hear from you all, but first we'll go to the post show where Stephen, myself, Wes and Josh will discuss the standings and our predictions for where drivers will fall. Last bit from me before we end the night. Thank you all so much for attending. Those who could not attend, thank you for watching. And good luck. May the best team win. Welcome back for the post show. After the results of the drivers' draft. Now there was a lot of drama that we just saw unfold. A battle of the brothers for 1st and 2nd place. A battle of the brothers at the table for 8th and 7th. But before we go into it, I just want to say thank you all for watching and joining us for the post show. Now, Josh, Wes, once again finding yourselves close in the draft, but this time in Josh's favour. Josh, how are you feeling coming into the 7th and 10th picks?
Well, I think having picks close together affords you a lot of flexibility in the draft. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. In this scenario, Wes actually has maybe the biggest upper hand in that, but worst case scenario, I can spite pick him and fuck his whole day up. So,
please, no swearing. We are obviously live.
Excuse me.
But Wes, spite picks. We always knew that was a possibility to come up this close in the draft, certainly depending on how you want to go with the constructors over Josh. Are you concerned about your position? Do you think you might lose one of your top 2 drivers? You mentioned Valtteri and Lewis. Well, we know it's not Lewis that's Josh is going to be picking.
Quite right.
How are you feeling about the 8th and 9th?
Well, I think when I saw it come up in the draft, I was kind of happy with my spot, and then of course when it all shook down, Josh being right in front of me and right behind me does make things a little bit trickier. However, I still have faith.
Certainly.
I'm
glad to see that you have a clearer head now, because obviously there was that outburst during the draft when you found out Josh's position, of course. Let's cast our minds to further up the top of the draft. You have people wanting the best of the best drivers, but it does also mean that they're stuck with some of the worst on that 2nd seat, myself included. 4th position. You know, I can see myself picking up a solid Mercedes driver. Maybe not the one that everyone thinks is the favourite to win, because I think he's not a very savoury person. But perhaps a good Ferrari driver, or maybe a Red Bull 2nd seat. Who knows? But my 2nd driver, you see, that's where it's tough for me. As you mentioned, Josh, obviously, separating it out, you don't really want your 1st and 2nd picks to be that far apart. I find I'm going to be having a bit of an interesting dilemma ahead. But let's think about Nick and Chris. 1st and 2nd position. Who do you guys see with those 2 in mind taking the top 2 players?
Well, I think it's simple. I think Charles Leclerc's going to go quick.
Agreed.
And then to follow it up, I also think you've probably got one of our top premier drivers, possibly Oscar, possibly Max, going very early, as we always knew they would, but with some certainty now, I think that one of those three are going to go.
Wes, do you think this potential for Charles to go as high as maybe even second in the draft, do you think that's warranted, not given his talent, but given Ferrari's performance over the last few years?
I think there's an element of risk there. Because, of course, it's Ferrari, the worst managed team on the grid, as everybody knows. It's just impossible to ignore that fact. I think with Charles, I think it's a strong pick, regardless. I think he's a great driver. It is just going to be that issue of, can the team manage him properly through this year?
Yes. So before we wrap up, I suppose some parting remarks from me. Just remember, when you're making your picks, we haven't seen the cars operate. We haven't seen how the drivers are going to be doing. Cadillac, complete unknown, though their drivers are a bit more experienced. No one's mentioned Sergio Perez today. Could it be that getting away from Red Bull might unlock some of that talent we saw when he was at Racing Point? We don't know. What we do know is that very soon, your choices will be coming in, and we will have our fantasy draft complete. I, for one, am very excited for the year ahead. Josh, are you looking forward to the draft?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great time, actually. I'm really excited to see how things shake out, and It'll be a good time.
Where's any predictions off the top of your head? Throw us a loose one. Who do you think could come out on top of the league this year?
Oof, that's a good question, difficult question. I think with the way things are going to go down with preferences and also just overall quality of everybody involved, I think it's going to be quite tight. I don't think I can quite say who's going to be on top this year, other than myself, of course. But we'll see how things shake out.
Of course, because that's the thing. New regulations. We don't know how these cars are going to operate as we go. All we know is that very soon we'll be back on the track enjoying some quality racing and also Lance Stroll's racing. That's all from me. Josh, Wes, thank you for joining me.
Thanks.
Have a
for
good
having us,
night.
mate.
It's been a pleasure.